listeners of Living Water, I am honored that you have chosen today to be with me as we take another life lesson and learn how we can all do better. Today we're going to talk about something we all have, shoes. And some people have a lot of shoes and really like them. So I think you'll get a chuckle out of listening to today's story. So make sure you share it with all your friends and make sure you follow me and subscribe so each and every week you can hear the new story that comes out. So there was, back in ancient times, people didn't have as many shoes as we do today. As a matter of fact, you were considered pretty well off if you had something more than just a pair of sandals. So there was an elderly man who was a very learned and wise man. He walked a lot, many places every day, so his shoes were very important to him. His shoes were starting to wear out. They were getting to the point he said, I'm going to have to do something pretty soon, else I'm going to have to be walking around barefoot. So he began to read and study, gather all the information he could because he liked books, he liked knowledge, and he said, hey, maybe I can find a way to fix these shoes that I have. The more he read, the more he learned that it was probably time just to retire that pair of shoes. It was going to be impossible to fix them. So next he turned his attention and he began to study what is exactly the best way to purchase a new pair of shoes. How do you get the measurements exactly right? How do you know they're going to fit your feet and not hurt? Once again, he turned to the books and to the knowledge and learning everything he could. He came up with an idea that what you need to do, take a stick, measure your length, measure the width of your foot, mark them on a stick, and then you have that as a reference point. He very carefully made his marks. He made sure they were exact because it was very important to him to get this pair of shoes that would fit properly. He didn't want to end up with blisters. He didn't want to end up with sore feet from walking around. So he wanted to make sure that those shoes fit exactly right. He did his diligence. He was ready. He said, okay, I'm going to head to the market. Now, it's not like today, because today you can get on the internet and research and study and make your order and hey, they show up at your door. He had to walk to another town, which is where there was a place he could buy shoes. He got all ready the next day, said, I'm going to go get some shoes. He headed to the village, went to the market that sold the shoes, went in, looked around, found ones that he liked, right colors. Everything seemed to be right. He reached in his pocket to get the measuring stick. Guess what? He had left a stick at home after all that work, after all that preparation of making sure that stick was exactly right. Oh, he got saddened. He had to go back and get the stick so he could buy the right pair of shoes. He told the storekeeper, I'll be back tomorrow. Off he went. Home he went. Now, where did I leave that stick? Guess what? It was sitting right by the front door. He grabbed the stick, got prepared, set it where he knew he would remember it the next day. He got a little bit late start that day, walking. He had some things to do. So off he went to the next town, came to the market. But guess what? The market was closed. He had got there too late. Now he's got 2 days walking back and forth a long way to get a pair of shoes. And you can imagine his shoes were about to fall off his feet. He said, I hope my shoes make it there tomorrow. I've done all I can to make them hold together. Day number 3. I'm getting up early today. I'm going to get to that market soon. He got up. He left early. He made sure he had his stick. Came to the market, went to the store that sold the shoes, went in, looked around. Those shoes were nowhere to be found. He asked the gentleman at the shoe store, he said, sir, could you tell me what happened to this particular pair of shoes? And he said, well, unfortunately, someone came in after you and bought those shoes. Now the man was very dejected and sad because 3 days now he had walked back and forth, and the shoes he really liked were no longer there. He was sad, trying to decide what he'd do, and the shoe keeper could tell that he was pretty frustrated, and he said, "Sir, do you mind if I ask you a question?" The wise man said, "Well, sure. What else am I going to do? I'm here. Ask your question." He was a little frustrated by this time, and the shoe keeper said, "Why didn't you buy the pair of shoes the day that you were here and you saw them?" The man thought for a minute and he said, "Well, sir, you have to have a stick. You have to have the stick to buy the pair of shoes. If you don't have the stick with the right markings on it, the shoes are not going to fit properly." The shoe keeper was doing all he could to bust out laughing. He didn't want to hurt the man's feelings. He didn't want to make him feel bad. So he composed himself and he said, "Sir, do you mind if I tell you something?" The wise man, the old man, said, "Well, sure, why not? I'm here. Tell me whatever you want to tell me." He said, "Sir, you don't have to have a stick. You had your feet with you, didn't you?" And the wise man said, "Well, of course I had my feet. They're connected to my body, and I walked here, didn't I?" The shoe keeper said, "Yes, sir, you did." He said, "You see, it's good to have a stick. That helps. But the ultimate test is to try the shoe on your foot." The wise man leaned back for a moment. He was thinking, and in his mind he said, "Now I've walked 3 days back and forth. They don't have the shoes that I want. And you mean all I had to do was physically try them on that day?" The shoe keeper said, "Yes, sir. That's all you really need to do to buy a good pair of shoes." The man was rather frustrated. He said, "Well, I'm here. Could you help me find some shoes?" Storekeeper did. He got another pair of shoes. It wasn't exactly the ones he wanted, but he got a pair of shoes that fit. Why? He had his feet with him. They were connected to his body. So, my friend, it all sounds a little funny, and some of you may be saying, "I'd never do that." But you see in life, how many times, how many situations have you applied all the book knowledge, all the learning that you've had, and you still didn't resolve the problem? And the reality is, if you would have just applied some common sense, you could have solved the issue. Makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Makes you wonder how many times you could have solved the problem by using common sense. So today, my friend, I will tell you, use all the knowledge you've learned out of books. Use all the knowledge you've gained from studying. But when you're looking at life's problems, when you're looking at situations, when you're looking at how you're going to resolve something, don't forget to use common sense. Use that common sense. Some of you may be watching today, you feel like, "I've done everything I can to resolve the problem. I've done all I am able to bring this to an end." I'll ask you one simple question. Have you tried a little common sense? If you haven't, why don't you do that? For you see, if we all will use all the tools that we have available to us, use all of our learning, use all of our knowledge we've gathered over our years of experience, and then add common sense, I'll bet you'll find you're going to resolve a whole lot more issues, and many times you can resolve the issue much quicker. So, my friend, I thank you for listening today. As we understand, use everything that is available to us. Don't give up on a problem or a situation until you've applied everything, even common knowledge, common sense. And if you do, you will resolve those issues. Please share this story with your friends. Follow me, subscribe, and make sure that each and every week you're first to receive the life lesson stories that help us all live better. Thank you once again for joining me this week.